Oh, that's me. All right. This is the first page, actually. So I'm an art director, artist, and designer. Last 10 years, I think, in any kind of directions, from the illustrations to the game development. And my talk would name, oops, somebody changed the slides, okay, but I will try to change my mind. So my background is the studio where we able to work with the Remedy, BioWare, the Wargaming, Supercell, on the projects like Alan Wake, the Star Wars, The Night of the Old Republic, the World of Tanks, and some old projects for the Supercell, when they was not so popular, I thought. So, and between the working days on all that outsourced companies, I just thought that I do something wrong. I need to do much more than I do right now. And I start doing something by my own. I connect with one people from the local theater, and we start doing performance, actually, with the Snail Studios. So this is how it looks like. It was a scene with the floor and the wall. I was managed to make a 3D mapping on all this stuff, and when we have made all these creations, I found that something happened inside me, and I found that I start understanding the behavior between the actor and the scene, actually. And from my opinion, it was the first step into creative career from me, because all my last project was like client works. I just do what the clients actually ask me, and here I was able to create my own stuff, to use my own creativity, and I just push my boundaries and go beyond the industry. So, and it was something, I don't know, pretty amazing feeling when you do something and you have a full of hall of the audience who just really happy to see all this stuff. So this is another project in theater. And after that, after all of these things, I found a way how to manage with the museums. And our first project was to create this interesting installation inside the St. Petersburg Museum called Errata. So it's a sculpture with the 3D mapping on it, with a bunch of videos and cats and all sorts of things. It was pretty amazing and fun to create all of these things. And when we create this, I step forward to the production phase. I start understanding how important to manage with your production phase, from the pre-production to the production and to post-production at last. So after that, when I understanding the production phases, I decided to make my own animation, actually. It was 2012. I released animation called Flowerman. And after we put it on the festivals around the world, we start thinking that we can actually manage with gaming. Why not? We start doing the 2D platformer with the funny creatures like that. So it was like a easy runner game with the ability to choose your sneakers, to buy it. We didn't have so much knowledge in Unity these times, but it's made by Unity, actually in 2012, I think, or maybe a little bit later. So, and this project was my next step into the creative path on the game development, actually. And but once again, I was disappointed something missed here. And I started thinking, what I miss? And I found that I missed the storytelling, actually. And I decided to create something with proper storytelling. I forgot to, to say about assets. So this is all the assets for the Flower Man. Actually, I created for this game with other guys. So in this project, I was able to be first time as an art director to manage with other artists at all to gain my goals and create all in one style. And about the storytelling. So the next project was the Fisher Dog. We create a proper story about the dog who's stuck on the island with her friend Little Mouse. So we spent 1 year actually on production of the alpha version because it was so hard. I make a decision to create all the textures, all the models from the real objects actually. And most of these objects was created from papier-mâché. And after that, I scanned it with the mobile phone to have these normal maps like in the real world. So my idea was to integrate this real world inside the mobile devices, how it should look like if you have real objects like it made by the hands, the handmade objects. So and it was pretty hard to make all these things, but and I found that it's impossible to do this game with the 2 guys actually. And the next step was to earn money to bring back my tools into this Fisher Dog project. This is another concept. So and how I make a decision to make money. We start creating the simple puzzle game with the integrated in-app purchases, with the advertisings and all sorts of things to earn something, because all of previous projects was not able to take something from those. So, and here we decided to make something really standard without any experiments and all sorts of things. So, and I would like to share just some hints for those guys who create games in this kind of style. So, a game design, how we start. We create the starting point and the finish point. For example, the starting point is a tunnel, and the finish point is the ventilation, for example, ventilation pipe. So then I should feed the empty spaces with the dots, with numbers. So, and for example, these dots could be like the levels, like, I don't know, the clock room, another tunnel, or I don't know, anything else, and some items on it. Then we make transitions between all these dots. It's not really matter which transitions you use, because any game engines have their own opportunities to work with that. But I would say that at this moment, we're still not drawing anything. We're just thinking. We spent 1 week on thinking on creations. And after that, I'm start doing my job, actually, art development. I'm starting from the art DNA for the project. It's finding references. And I really like Japan art style. For example, Tatsuyuki Tanaka, it was my main reference, who created this amazing book, Cannabis Work. And the second one is The Darkest Dungeon by Red Hat Studio. It was my second reference for creating all the art assets. And how I start? I creating a lot of thumbnails with properly explanation for the game designer, which I gave to him for work. on his quests. And after that, I set up my working place. I make a decision like to create the working place as much possible close to the abandoned mines. Like, how it's possible to just draw it inside the game, all the objects. So it was amazing for me to use my light table from the past years when I just was a fan of animation and draw the keyframe animation as a freelance. So this is how look the line art, actually. After that, I put all the line art inside the Photoshop. In the Photoshop, I make a textures by the usual paintbrush. I usually just adjust the standard paintbrushes, not using any different. So after that, I'm using my skills in 3D to create all this scene in 3D and bake the shadows. And then I just merge this, the Photoshop thing with the ambient occlusion. After that, my favorite part is the polishing. So after polishing, this is the finished asset for our puzzle games. And now I just will share the whole production stage in time-lapse.
I'm open, I'm open, I'm open, ooh.
So using Blender for model all this stuff in isometric view because it's much easier to find the way in perspective.
I'm open, I'm open, I'm open, ooh. High breeze is on the wing. You know, he has me sound.
Something like that. So, and the last thing is the prototyping. When all the assets done, only then we start creating the prototypes. Within InVision, it's actually free service for developers who create apps. You can just put your asset inside their website and just create these boxes, which can be pushable. If you just want to make a really fast prototype, use InVision. It's the bestest way, believe me. So, and we already gain 500,000 downloads per half a year, actually, and it was pretty surprise for us. And another thing, what I want to say, it's really important to communicate and collaborate with other people. For us, it was Escape Factory. They are our publishers, and they help us a lot to not to go so far from the style, from the setting of this game, from the quest at all. And another thing which I really want to just hint for all the developers, that even if you work on your own product, you spend, for example, half a year on the assets and you just draw it every day just to achieve your goals, but you just should make something else. I just like funny creatures, and I create one creature per day. Not in that quality, but this is my favorite ones, and I just want to share it with you. So this is a hippie girl, and this is the fellowship. The last thing what I want to say, it's much more important to communicate with other people than to use the proper tools, actually, for create your product. So this thing I understood between the 5 years in indie production, actually. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And do you guys have questions? Yes, just a second.
Hi. So, do you have a reason why you draw on paper the line drawings? Or did I miss something?
As I said, I just tried to set up all the working places aesthetically the closest to the abandoned mine. Yeah. So it's like you just need to be inside your game when you draw it as an artist. Yeah, like this.
Other questions? Yes.
And how your game does perform now? I mean, now functionally, financially, and did it get some traffic, downloads, and everything? If you can share that information, please.
As I said, right now it's about 500,000 downloads and installs only on Android market. But right now I would say that I can actually pay for rent my studios right now. only like that, yeah. Not more.